Hello English students, welcome to your English class number 13. Very good, so today we're going to talk about a very important subject that we talked about on the first class, and something else happened after that. So we're going to talk a lot about the protests and about everything that involves the Black community rights. Okay, so on the slide number 2, we're gonna see the quotes that they use during the protest. Okay, very important sentences. And then afterwards, we're gonna see some magazines, some newspapers, reports about what's going on. All right, so this is gonna be interesting. You're gonna see a whole new kind of vocabulary because it comes from the New York Times, from other like CNN, other important websites and journal newspapers. So hope you like it, and let's get to it. All right, so quotes used during the protest. First one, the most famous of all, so Black Lives Matter. I can't breathe. It's something that some of the victims said before they died. And the racial injustice. Stop killing us. Fight power. And racism. Equality. No justice, no peace. Say their names. Enough is enough. Our voices will be heard. Okay, so these are all sentences they say during the protest, and everything it's related to the Black community rights, okay, in United States. And we can also see some part of it like that happens all over the world, but especially in USA this happens a lot. I think the prejudice, it's very strong over there. So this is a very, very important fight. We're gonna talk about it, we're gonna discuss it in class, and today we're gonna see some reports from newspapers and websites, okay? So let's go to slide number 3 and get it started. So this is an article from the New York Times from July 3rd, 2020. All right. Black Lives Matter may be the largest movement in US history. Okay. The recent Black Lives Matter protests peaked on June 6, when 500,000 people turned out in nearly 550 places across the United States. That was a single day in more than a month of protests that still continue to today. 4 recent polls suggest that about 15 million to 26 million people in the United States have participated in demonstrations over the death of George Floyd and others in recent weeks. These figures would make the recent protest the largest movement in the country's history. I've never seen self-reports of protest participation that high for a specific issue over such a short period, said Neil Caring, associate professor at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, who studies social movements in the United States. So let's continue. This article goes to slide number 4, continues here. While it's possible that the more people said they protested than they actually did, even if only half of them told the truth, the survey suggests more than 7 million people participated in recent demonstrations. The Women's March in 2017 had a turnout of about 3 million people to 5 million in a single day, but that was a highly organized event. Professor Woodley said that the civil rights marches in 1960 were considerably smaller in numbers. If we added up all those protests during that period, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of people, but not millions. Even protests to unseat the government leadership to independence typically when they succeed when they involve 3.5% of the population at their peak. Black Lives Matter have been around since 2013, but there's been a big shift in public opinion about the movement, as well as broader support for recent protests. A public support from organizations like NFL, NASCAR for Black Lives Matter may also encourage supporters who typically would sit on their sidelines to get involved. All right. Okay, so that was the New York Times article. Of course, I didn't put it the whole article because it's too huge, like it's too long. So I just put a piece of it, and now we're gonna move on to the CNN website article. Okay, Jacob Blake's case. So this was a case that had like very strong attention from the media and from everyone in the world. So let's see a little bit more this case, okay? All right, so Jacob Blake's case. Two Wisconsin police officers are on leave this Monday as the state authorities investigate why a black man was shot multiple times in the back as he entered the driver's seat door of an SUV. The man's three children of 3, 5, and 8 years old were in the car, a family attorney said. Identified by the governor as Jacob Blake, was, as witness said, trying to break up a fight and stepped out from the scene peacefully as the police arrived. But the police say they have a different version of the events. According to the officers, the man had a knife on him. This encounter between Blake and the police was filmed by civilians, and the footage spread across the social media, sparking new protests and leading country officials to institute a curfew that remained until Monday morning, August 24th. The shooting came as demonstrations continued to decry police violence in American cities, including the encounters that killed George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. All right. Jacob Blake survived the 7 shots, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. So he's not dead, but he's paralyzed. So this is very sad. And it's basically a miracle that he is alive, right? Like after like short range, getting 7 shots, it's a miracle. Okay, so the last story we have is also from the New York Times. So it's about the NBA boycotts. So with boycotts, a new high bar for protests in sports is set. The deafening silence of not having sports provided a powerful message from athletes demanding racial justice, after kneeling and slogans on jerseys seemed to have lost potency. It was the silence that spoke loudest. No basketballs pounding on hardwood. All-American games canceled. This is what the silence said. No more Jacob Blakes. No more George Floyds. No more Breonna Taylors. No more Natasha McKennas. No more Michael Browns. No more Tamir Rices. No more Eric Garners. No more Alton Sterlings. no more pain. So this is like some of the victims from racial injustice, like in encounters with the police. The basketball league, the soccer league, and other tournaments followed their lead. Never before has the world of sports spoken so emphatically. All right, that was period. Okay. This continues to slide number 7. So this was the logical next step in the fervent activism inspired this year by the killing of George Floyd. As the nation grappled with 401 years of racial trauma, it searched for ways to break apart systemic injustice and violence against Black Americans. Players as prominent as Kyrie Irving of Brooklyn Nets declared that holding a season now, resuming amid the pandemic, was a mistake and a distraction, and said the athletes should stay home and work within their communities for change. But the NBA and the WNBA got back to work. The players chose to use nationally televised games as a platform for their grievances. They draped their courts and jerseys with slogans and calls for change. They knelt during the national anthem. So there is a photo of the players on their knees. So here you gonna see LeBron James. You're gonna see LA Clippers coach, and you're gonna see some other important players during the protests. Alright, so for the videos we have 2 videos. One video is Doc Rivers interview. He is the coach for LA Clippers. He's on that photo. He was talking about the feeling he had about the comments from the president, from Donald Trump comments. And the other video we have here is a Grey's Anatomy scene. So a Black couple are teaching their kid how to react if he has an encounter with the police. So these are things that the Black community has to go through during their lives in America. So we know nothing is perfect, but they have to face a lot of challenges during their daily basis. So this is very important for everybody to know. So that's what we are going to discuss on this class. And you see like the translations for the text you have in blue. Okay, so the words that have translation, they are in red, and we have the translation in blue. All right, so I think it helps to get a better understanding of the text. All right, so this is it. We're gonna talk about it in class, and I see you. Bye.